welcome back to the Art of Learning and Unlearning. Please stay tuned for the next episode. See you in the next video. Hi, besties. Welcome back to another episode. On this episode, I wanted to talk about teaching children boundaries. It is never too early to teach children about boundaries. Honestly, I feel like one of the most powerful lessons we can give to our children is the understanding of personal boundaries. When children learn what boundaries are and how to honor them, both in themselves and in others, they grow into emotionally healthy, self-aware, and confident adults. And let me tell you this, honestly, to start with me, that is exactly what got me to become, or how I became the woman that I am today, with boundaries, with self-respect, with clarity, with self-awareness when it comes to certain personal areas of my life. So you might be wondering, why does it matter? Why do I have to start so early and so young? Well, children who are taught about physical, emotional, and relational boundaries from an early age are less likely to be manipulated, abused, or taken advantage of. They get to develop a strong sense of respect and are better equipped to navigate relationships with clarity, confidence, and self-control. I had a lot of self-control in college. Woo, listen. The brain and the body were not on the same page. That is all I'm going to say. I was so glad that I had boundaries instilled in me at a very early age, and that my mother spoke to me very clearly about things that I need to know. Because listen, your girl struggled like everybody else, okay? But because I had boundaries, I had those knowledge that some children didn't have. I knew better, and I acted better, and I did better under a lot of situations where I'm like, wow, okay, I'm glad I had the knowledge behind this. So I have listed 6 practical tips for teaching children boundaries, and this is just part 1, and part 2 will be coming up in the next video for it. First thing I would like to say to start with when you're starting with your kids is to start with body autonomy. That was something that my mother did with me. She started with like my body parts and telling me about them and how important and valuable they are. And also do this with your sons as well too, because I feel like most of the time parents instill all these things into their daughters, and they do not put as much emphasis on their son. It is equally important for your sons and daughters to know their boundaries, know their worth, know how to say no, and know who they are and what they stand for, right? Because if you don't know what you stand for and who you are and what you are, you will fall for anything. So I would say start with body autonomy. Teach your children that their bodies belongs to them. Use proper names for body parts and talk openly in age-appropriate ways, of course, too, where they would understand what it is that you're trying to communicate about, and tell them about privacy and consent, what that even means. I'm realizing even as an adult, a lot of people do not know what consent is and what it means when you need to ask somebody for permission to touch their body. You need to ask somebody permission to give them a hug, or to, just put your hands on them. A lot of people do not know that. So please start with your kids early so they can know that their bodies belong to them and they have the autonomy on who touches them and who do not touch them. Phrases like, you don't have to hug someone if you don't want to. Start with basic phrases. You don't have to kiss someone when greeting them. If someone makes you uncomfortable, you can always say no when they ask you to do things that you do not like, or you don't feel comfortable doing, or you don't feel that it is a child's action or activity to do. And empower them to trust their instincts. That was something that my mother always tried to instill in me a little bit growing up, was making me trust myself and trust what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing and what I'm believing. Talking to myself, talking to God. She always tells me to talk to God. So I did that a lot. But growing up in a Haitian culture, it was mandatory to kiss all your guests when you walked in the room as a kid, right? I did not like that culture. That was one of the things that I did not like. And I was like, yeah, I cannot wait to become an adult so I could change that and not ever kiss anybody that I don't want to kiss. So when greeting each other or vice versa, you would just kiss each other on the cheeks or whatever. I later realized that I was becoming more uncomfortable with the greeting process the older I was getting. I would literally get skin irritations from being touched, or my face would break out from different people constantly kissing on me or touching me in general. Fast forward to today, I eventually realized that was my body's way of communicating with me and letting me know that, hey, we are uncomfortable with whatever it is that you got going on out here. Okay. So I started taking notice to that the older I was getting. And the second part that I wanted to cover as well too was normalize saying no with your kids. I know everybody always like hate when kids say no or do not like it or found it rude or in things like that, especially in a Caribbean household. Oh my gosh, as a kid, it's like you were not allowed to say no. But I love the fact that I knew very early on what to say no to. And that's also very important. Children should know that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to tell them why you're saying no. It's just a no. Can I do this? Can I touch you here? No. And you leave it at that. Teach them that saying no doesn't make them rude. It makes them assertive or firm. Encourage them to use their voice and model it by respecting their boundaries as well, even in the house. And then the other part that I wanted to cover, so I don't forget, the last part, because I'm cutting this video short so that way I can add it to the next, that way I can create a second part, so that way it's not too long to record in one sitting. But after normalizing saying no, I would say the next thing that you want to teach them is teach them to respect others' boundaries as well. You know, as human beings, we love having our boundaries be respected. We love having our voices be heard and all of those things. Teach them that others also want the same thing that they want. Just as they learn to protect their own space, teach them to respect other people's space as well. Their friends, their elders, people that they are surrounded by. Use simple little concept like asking them or asking their friends, hey, can I borrow this? Or checking if their friend is okay with them being touched or hugged or even teased, because sometimes we do joke and make jokes with our friends, but we have to check on our friends and make sure like, hey, is it okay if we joked about this? Is this serious to you? You know, like pretty much making sure that they are also respecting other people's boundaries and not just having their own boundaries and sticking to it, but not respecting others' boundaries. Because as we can see in this generation, now that we are adults, we see these adults that you could tell that their parents never told them no. Normally those are like the serial killers, the school shooters, the people who you've seen some of them at work. You're just looking at them, you're like, yeah, I could tell your parents never said no to you. Or the people that look like they never received a spanking in their lives. Like, wow, okay, the world does not revolve around you. But the more you instill those things in them, and the older that they are getting, they will understand that, yeah, I do see why having boundaries is important as a child, because a child with no boundaries is going to be an adult with no boundaries. And they are also not going to know how to respect other people's boundaries because they never even knew what that was. So guys, if you like this video, please subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know what else that you would like to talk about in my next video as well. I will try my best to keep updating and uploading videos, but to be honest with you guys, the month of May is one of the hardest months for me, and the month of June as well. My mom's birthday is also in June. I mean, not in June, I'm sorry. My mom's birthday is in May, so May is always rough for me to do or feel motivated to do anything, which is why I have not been recording as much as I normally. I'm very consistent with putting out videos back to back, but this month I'm kind of just been processing and feeling things, so I'm just allowing my body to do these videos and do these recordings as it tolerates it. So I'm not pushing myself, I'm not forcing myself to do it. I'm just casually just uploading because I know this month is a really hard month for me, and thinking about my mother and all of those things and watching everyone enjoying their Mother's Day. So I hope everybody gets to have a wonderful Mother's Day with your mama. Tell them you love her, you love them, and spend some quality time with them. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye. And remember, if no one told you this, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and follow us for more.